Hello, hello, you guys. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Nivens, as usual. And we have a fabulous guest with us today. Joining me is Gail Keys. She is a reinvention coach for women 50 plus. She is so fabulous, so bold, and so fiery, you guys. I cannot wait for you guys to get to know her. Gail, thank you for being on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here.
Oof. Okay. I gave the shortest intro ever. I love to hear and I think this is so good for all of us, speaking like who we are into existence over and over and over again. So
Mhm.
I would love for you to tell everybody who is Gail? Like who are you and what do you do also? Give us that.
Who am I? The first thing that comes to my mind is badass. I mean, I and the crazy thing about it is I wasn't always this person.
Mhm.
So I'm badass, I'm ageless,
Mhm.
I'm unapologetic, I'm ambitious, and I am 69 years young.
Woo! Okay, I love that. Ageless, you guys. That right there, I think, is just a takeaway from the top. And I love that you say 69 years young because I literally just made a post about this and I just turned 40
Oh,
this year, which
okay.
I think is also why I was feeling your energy from when we connected in our world
Yeah.
and just the things that you do post about being so bold and unapologetic. And there was something that happened in this last year with me where I started to truly give less fucks and
Wow.
step into more of who I am and what I want. And I can't even explain it. I think a lot of people when they turn 40 or late 30s have that. And that's how I felt. Like my theme turning 40 was I'm just getting started. And so many people at 40 are "Mer, mer, mer," life is over, or younger, feeling
Totally,
that way.
totally,
So I
totally.
just love that you're 69 and shining and still freaking living the most best bold life and feeling so young.
I do. Today I went for my annual physical, and it's a nurse practitioner. And when she was walking out, we talked. She examined me, all the things, and she was like checking my legs to see if there was any swelling. And I said, I don't have any swelling in my legs. And she said, You just have fabulous skin. Your skin is so amazing. And then she looked at her computer. She said, I know in my mind you're 69, but I just can't believe you're 69. And I was saying to her that I just for I don't know why, but when I turned 69 in May, and it's like taking things to a whole nother level.
Mhm,
Like I'm proud of it. I'm leaning into defining it in my own way and
mm,
not letting society define what it means. And I always felt that way, but I wasn't vocal about it. And
mm,
now I'm leaning into being vocal and telling everybody that you do not have to follow what society says about aging. And that's why
oof.
there are so many people in their 30s, starting in their 30s, that feel like they're too old. It's you have so much life ahead. Can you imagine if you think you're too old at 30, say I thought that, I would have spent almost 40 years miserable.
Wow. That right there, that gives me goosebumps, Skill. What? That's a really great frame right there to be what the no.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious. I even want to go, I definitely want to dive into your story and for people to okay, how did you get so badass? And what comes up for you? Why do you feel so young? What's the secret to feeling so ageless and young?
Th this is the truth. I've always felt this way, and
Mm,
I've even researched it because people have asked me. I think around when I turned 50, I worked with a young lady, and she was probably I was 50, she was probably 28, I think. And every time we would go to lunch or go somewhere, she'd always stop people and say, "Guess how old she is? Guess how old she is?" So I always felt like I was young, and I always
Mm,
lived my life as I was like I'm young, and I think that it allowed my mind to
mm,
work the way a person that's younger thinks, and not in an immature way, 'cause
yeah.
I was pretty mature at a very young age, but
Mhm.
I always felt like people are gonna find out I'm not a grown up. And I was, like, in my late 30s probably before I started feeling like a grown up. Um,
Mm.
so people would ask me all the time, "How do you look so young?" And I just used to be so embarrassed, I would joke and say, "Oh, if I tell you, I have to kill you." But I really didn't know. I just knew I looked younger, and as I've gotten older and become a coach and learned about mindset, part of it is mindset, but also I have had a very active lifestyle pretty much
Mm,
my whole life. And I really think that when you are active and strong in your body, you tend to feel younger too. So I
yeah,
think it's a mind. I did a TikTok yesterday. I was out walking and I said it's the mind feeds the body feeds the mind, and those two things, it reverberates out to all the other aspects of your life.
yeah.
Um, and that's how I view it.
Mm. Okay, I love that, and I'm gonna, like, second that over here because I get told I've gotten told literally multiple times, like, I look like I'm 28,
Mhm.
and I'm 40, and again, a lot of people your age, my age are like, "Oh my g like, you look so young,"
Yeah.
and I don't do special skincare things that are, like, so, like,
There
I'm
you go.
not drinking some celery juice serum or something. It's literally I would say those 2 same things. It's like I've been active basically my whole life, and from walking and the, like, endurance and, like, athlete type
Mhm,
stuff,
mhm.
healthy lifestyle overall, like, I do eat healthy and those things overall, drink a lot of water, but it's I think the really like you said, it's really both though. You've got that, but it's the
Yeah,
mindset, like, of not allowing yourself to think those thoughts on repeat and, "Oh, I'm so old, I'm so old, I'm so tired, I'm so blah," like, all of that, "I'm done, like, there's not enough time."
right.
Oh my god, that just makes me wanna, like, shrivel up and picture a dark little, like
It's it's depressing to think that way,
yeah.
and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if someone says, "Well, I'm in my 60s, I'm supposed to be slowing down anyway, or I
Yeah,
should be having these aches and pains, so I'm just gonna accept it." That's a whole different lifestyle than me saying, I'm 69, but literally, this has been my focus. I'm
yeah.
69, but how can the next 10 years be the best? How can I be even more active? How can I be in better shape? Like, I don't fall into that, like, oh, well, I'm just going to like jump in the pit with everybody else who's looking old and feeling bad just because of the number.
Yes. Ooh. Ooh, I'm curious even from that then, are there just a few thoughts? I feel like we could already pull some, like, if somebody went back and listened. But, like, what are a couple of your thoughts that you think whether you were, like, kinda subconsciously thinking them because 'cause you've just always
Mhm,
kinda had this younger vibe, or
mhm.
are there any that you have intentionally started to be like you said, "Not falling into that pit, I'm over here in this, like, aura and energy." Are there any thoughts you could share for everybody that, like, come up for you?
Um, well, I guess what the thoughts I've been thinking more so lately are that I don't have to believe what society says about aging.
Mm,
So even because I'm not gonna say I never think about the fact that I'm 69. I mean, I'm not delusional, but maybe I kinda am delusional though. But most of my thoughts are around what I love to do and how I want to look and how I want to show up in the world and how I want to feel. So it's not necessarily thoughts that are centered on, oh, I look young, oh, I look
Right.
whatever. It's more around how do I want to feel? Oh, I want to have more energy. So what do I need to do to have more energy? Or, oh, um, I'm not getting enough sleep. Or like I really focus more on the habits and thinking about the habits that I want to maintain and not so much specific thoughts about
Okay.
turning like showing up younger or anything like that. I don't really, like some people might say, "Oh, let me get Botox so that I don't have these wrinkles or whatever." I don't think, "Oh, let me try the latest product so my wrinkles will go away." For me, it's more like, "Okay, I have this wrinkle across my forehead. It's literally been there like deep for like 25 years. I just saw it and was like, "Okay, well, it is what it is. Let me learn to love it." Like most of my stuff is around let's fall in love with it. What make like even when I went gray, when I stopped coloring my hair, I just was like, okay, Gail, the gray is winning. These are the kind of conversations I have with myself. So it's like the gray is winning. You color it, and a few weeks later they start popping out. Do you want to continue to fight the gray, or do you want to learn to love the gray and keep it moving? And as
Mm.
soon as I learned to love the gray, then everybody started telling me how much they love the gray and how beautiful it is. So those aren't like necessarily specific thoughts. The thing that I really do focus on is unbrainwashing myself of the thoughts that society has around aging. That's
Yeah.
really more my approach. Unbrainwashing, identifying the thoughts that might make me shrink
Yep.
and addressing those thoughts and really looking at them and I always ask, are they your thoughts or do they belong to somebody else? Like,
Mm.
did this come from society? Because as we get older, there's so many negative things being said about aging that it's just crazy. And
Yeah.
if you listen to that and believe it, you would wake up every day depressed. So, yeah, so
Mm.
that's pretty much how I approach it.
Okay, I what I totally took and heard from that is very, and you had even like kind of said it earlier too, was like defining like your own way. And I love this conversation for us women because I really feel like that's the season I'm in, and moving forward with for the rest of my life is like, and talk to my clients about is also like, what do you want? Not what
Yes,
the boxes we're put in and society tells us and your mother and your sister, blah, 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 like, no, but like, what do you want? And when you're clear on that and you have that vision of like, I want to feel young, or I want to feel alive even,
alive,
then
yes,
you do those things that create that,
totally,
because you know what you want. And how you get that is by like cutting off all the brainwashing that we've had of like what we're supposed to do and look like. So I just love that. That is like those, that's very clear. Like, cut the brainwashing. What is the brainwashing in your life that we're
right,
supposed to do, and start doing what the you want, like
totally,
moving forward.
totally,
Um,
totally.
ooh, okay. I want to like dive into your story now. So I would love, tell us like, who was the Gail before this like bold, unapologetic badass? Like, I know you were in corporate for a long time before you became a coach. And I even remember seeing like pictures of you when you were kind of, I don't know if it was when you were 40 or if it was 50.
Yeah, I was in my early 40s, so it was like picture me in my early 40s and a picture of me in my mid 50s, comparing the 2.
Yes. And like when I saw the 40s, I'm going to say it in my words, but I want you to like take us down the story. And this is like kind of that vanilla, that very typical like woman in her, like we're a little more buttoned up and like
Yeah,
not as bold, right? And then if somebody were to see you now, they would be like, "Eh," like got that pink
yeah.
lipstick and the silver hair and the glasses, like,
It's totally different. So I said 50s, but it was 40s and 65, I think the second picture I was 65. Um,
okay.
So yeah, that person was corporate. That person wore mostly black and gray and white, and that person at that time I was married, and I didn't speak my mind. I used to say that zip it, like I would keep my mouth closed because I didn't want to rock the boat.
Mm,
So I just went along to get along, didn't want people to be mad at me, was afraid of conflict, which to me, even having a straightforward conversation or setting boundaries to me at the time was conflict. I didn't realize it, but I've learned that over the years. But when I was 49, I found out about my ex-husband's infidelity, and we had been married for 19 years. And that just like it just opened my eyes to a whole new world, and I just said, I'm no longer keeping my mouth shut. I'm
mm,
gonna do whatever the hell I want, and I'm out. And he was confused. I we had conversations about staying in the marriage, but he said he was confused. And I just decided I'm not confused. And I'm getting out. I'm out. And the crazy thing about it is that the year before, I had had three major surgeries. In fact, one of them was the year I found out about the infidelity. So March of the year before, I had my thyroid removed. It was growing goiters, and the
mhm,
goiters were taking over my thyroid, and I had my thyroid removed. So that was in March. In November, I used to be a personal trainer actually, and in November, part time while I was in corporate, but in November, I went to a spa in Arizona and was doing every class imaginable and hiking and all the things. Came back, went to squat down to get clothes out of my suitcase, and something popped in my back and I herniated a disc. So I had to have a second surgery in November. And then the next March, I had a brain tumor. I had a
oh my
freaking
goodness.
brain tumor. It's called a meningioma. It fortunately was not a cancerous, but it was very large. And so, like, within 2 weeks of diagnosis, they were removing it.
Wow.
So I couldn't work. I was having seizures. That's part of how we found out I had a brain tumor. But I couldn't work. Couldn't drive or anything for months, and then I find out. So that was March. Then in October, I think I find out about my ex-husband's infidelity. I don't even have a job, and whatever was triggered in me, I did have a meltdown. Like I remember an Elizabeth Gilbert moment, but I don't know if you read Eat, Pray, Love, but in that book, she was on the floor in the bathroom. Well, I was on the floor, the ceramic tile floor in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I had a meltdown. And after that, it was just like, I'm out. And I got a job. I borrowed money from my father to move, and I had the dream life. I mean, we had like a 5,000 square foot house, driving a Jag. He was driving a Jag. I had a Lexus. I mean, he had a business that was doing well. And I was out, and all my friends are like, "You're going to leave that big, beautiful home. You're going to leave, this marriage."
Mhm.
Yes, I'm out because I do not tolerate infidelity. I'm not staying with a cheater. So I started all over again, basically at 50,
Wow.
after the brain tumor. And then the job I got shortly after that, it wasn't the first job I got, but the first job I got after I left my ex husband, I lost that job. I got laid off a year after. And I'm like, first time being single adult, single mom, because I have one daughter, and I lose my darn job. So the job that I got after that, I stayed there for 16 years. And that's where kind of things
Mhm.
take another turn, because, I found myself doing what I was doing in my marriage, and that was not speaking my mind because I was afraid of losing my job, being dissatisfied in the situation, but okay with it being okay. Like, oh, this is a great job. I'm making six figures. everybody else thinks it's amazing,
Mm,
but I'm sitting here in this office rotting away. Um, and the turning point for that, it seems like it's always something that kind of triggers it. But after 16 years of getting really good raises, great reviews, I was told, you're highly compensated enough, and we're not willing to pay you any more money. This is a law firm I work for. And when hearing those words, literally, when I went back to my office, I heard Spirit say, they do not get to dictate how much money you make. The old me did not think
mm,
that way. That's why I said that was God,
yeah,
because that wasn't me. And from
yeah.
that point on, I just decided I'm out. And it took me, how long? That was 29. It took me about 16 months, something like that, to figure it all out. But in that time, I got certified as a coach and started coaching, started making money while I was still working full time. And that was in 2020. So we went on lockdown. So I was working my job from home, getting certified, then coaching. And then my daughter, who lives with me, pops up telling me she's pregnant. So then my daughter has my grandson while, like, right before we went on lockdown. So all through 2020, I'm working my job, certifying, coaching part time, helping with my infant grandson at the time because my daughter worked nights. So
Mm,
all of that was going on. And I just decided one month, I decided to teach a course against, the advice of my coach, because most in the coaching circles, they usually will say, get fully booked before you teach a course. But I'm a rebel. I always was a rebel, but I was always afraid to do the things that I wanted to do
mm,
until then, really. And,
mm,
so I just said, "I'm teaching this course," and I made 23K while I was on that course, and it was a live program, and I thought, "If I can make 23,000 in 1 month and I'm working full time, I can make money." I used to always say, "I make money without a job." Like, I
mm,
always so I figured I can make money without this job. I never made 23,000 in a month on my job.
mhm.
Um, and so that's kind of how I ended up quitting my job. And that was in 2021.
Ooh, oh my gosh. This is so good. I just want everyone to like really hear your story here. There's so much possibility like
Mm,
used into your story of like you started over at 50 and not just started over, but like had the good life, quote unquote. Like all
mhm.
of the things that we're most of us are striving for, the home, the marriage, the kids, the house, the cars.
Totally,
And
yeah.
you completely like gives me goosebumps, like completely out for your values. You stood up for your values and literally started over at 50. I
I
just
did,
want
yeah.
everyone to like hear that. Like I know for myself, even sometimes, like I can feel like I'm behind, right? Like we
Mhm,
all feel like we're behind, to some
mhm,
degree. And
mhm.
I just love that. It's such permission to be like, yo, y'all, if you want to start over at 30, at 40, at 50, at 60, whatever, you started over again 16 years later to literally go from your accountant, you said, right? Like,
Yeah,
is that
I was an accountant with a
right?
law firm. Yep,
To a coach and studied and started a new career at
yep. I was
55.
65 when I quit my job.
Yeah. So, like, anybody out there, it's just especially because my audience is like more of like that 25, 30 to like 45 or 50. Like, hello, like you guys, so much is possible. I want to, I kind of want to ask before I want to go from like the coaching, like starting that, but
Mhm,
like when you said, I find this a lot of times with women that I work with, and like it's even a part of my mission of like, how do we open our fucking mouths more and speak up and say what we want and start to get what we want as women in this world, and not from a place of like victimhood where like somebody's like, well, they no, but it's from a place of power, and that we're not
Oh,
afraid that
yeah.
we of conflict, of boundaries, of speaking up. I'm curious, like, what would you say to women out there that are like, they're raising their hands, they're relating, and they're like, damn, Gail, like, I'm in that marriage right now, or I'm in this career right now, or I'm in this situation. And dear
Mhm,
God, do I want to start over, or do I want to speak up and I want to do something different, but I'm afraid? What would
mhm.
you tell them?
The first thing I would say is, of course you're afraid. Like, why wouldn't you be afraid? You never spoke up before, you never, um, stood up to the risk of losing everything before. Most people haven't.
Mm,
But what I teach is to be in, and when you said power, to be in your power position, that's what I call it. And
mm,
being in your power position is having boundaries, setting boundaries, and not jumping from being afraid to speak to all of a sudden you're like loud and bold. But
right.
I like, and I did this myself, experimenting. Start with the little
Mm,
things. Speak up around the little things because it's going to feel uncomfortable in your body
mm,
and like really super uncomfortable. But
yeah,
if you allow yourself to do little experiments that don't feel as risky, then it's to me, it's like lifting a lower weight, like now
yeah.
when people say, oh, do curls with 3 pounds, I'm just like, 3 pounds? What would that do? But if you never lifted weights before, 3 pounds might be a lot. To
Mhm.
me, I probably could curl 20 pounds. I don't know, around 20. So to me right now, I'm in the power position because I started with the 3 pounds,
Yeah,
not because I started with 20 pounds. It's the
yeah,
same, it's the same thing. It's like you start small. Instead of biting your tongue, because I bit my tongue a lot, instead
yeah,
of biting your tongue, say the thing you really want to say
yeah,
and then step back and see what reaction you get. You'd
yeah.
be surprised, most of the time we get a totally different reaction than what we're making up in our mind. Because
Mm,
that's the other thing. We make up in our mind that it's going to be this horrible thing. And 99% of the time, it isn't.
yeah.
It really isn't. And so it really starts with experimenting, but also stepping into your desire. Because
Mm.
if you don't allow yourself to want more, nothing is going to change.
Mm. Ooh, okay, I love that. So is experiment with the little things. That's how you start to bridge that gap and do it small. I what comes up for me there even is like even at like at the coffee shop or at the restaurant, like if the relationship thing is a little too tough to even speak up to right now, it's like it
Yeah.
just asking for what you want out and about in public. Like, yes, I would
So,
like paper. Yes, I would like this. Or excuse me, could you do that? Like starting there is like could be a great way to even like baby step it.
oh, you know what's funny? I was in this mastermind, and we met in New York for the mastermind, and we went to this restaurant, and I ordered like I normally order. I wasn't thinking anything about it. And most of the people, everybody's younger than me in all these containers I'm in. So most of them were in their 30s, early 40s. And after we all ordered and the waiter went away, they said, how do you always ask for what you want so clearly? Because I always do. I'm like, okay, can you cook it this way with this and put this on the side and do it this way? Whereas a lot of people are afraid to even ask for
Right.
those things. So
Right.
you're right. Starting, and I have a quick story too about that.
Yeah.
When I was leaving my ex-husband, I ordered a new bed because I didn't want the same bed we slept in. I felt
Hmm.
very strongly about that. So I ordered a new bed, and I have no bed in my place, and they're supposed to deliver. They never show up. Like hours go by, they don't show up with the delivery. I call they research and find they took it to the wrong person's house. So they tell me that we can't re-deliver till next week sometime when we can fit it in the schedule. And I was hell bent on there is no way I'm sleeping on the floor for a week.
Mm-hmm.
No way. So I
Mm-hmm.
put my shoes on, drove to the store, went to customer service, and I never used to do that. I used
Mm.
to let my ex-husband do all the hard things, the
Right.
confrontational things. And they told me there was nothing they could do. I started yelling at them in the store, and I was just like, "No way. This is not customer service." And I just started getting really loud. I never had done that before. Um, so I just was like storming out of the store, and one of the employees said, Miss, can I talk to you? It was a guy, and he came up to me and he said, My friend has a mattress store right down the street. Here's his card. Go there, tell him I sent you. They'll get your bed to you. And I went there and they delivered my bed that night. That
Oh
night.
my gosh. Oh my
The
gosh.
old The old me would have just said, "Okay,
Yeah.
all right, well, if that's all you can do, what can I say?" Because people say all the time, I can't do anything," or what can I do?" And it's like, "You can open your mouth."
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so glad you shared that story. And I almost want to like second and I literally somebody rear-ended me last week and
Oh,
not bad. Like I was fine, we were all fine, but still, it damaged my car. I have to get a new bumper.
mm,
And when I got on the phone with the claims person the next day, they were like, "We can reimburse you for your rental car when you get it." And I was like, "You're not reimbursing me. I am not paying a single penny out of my pocket." But that was
yeah,
what they said was possible and what they were putting on me. I'm sure, of course, they don't want to pay anything extra. Like,
right.
so they were putting that on. But I said, no, 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 no. This is not how this is going to go. And I spoke up. And then the second thing that they never brought up was the like the devaluing of my car now because it's been in an accident and that's going to be on the Carfax. And so they didn't bring it up, but I said, "Yes, I do have one more thing to bring up and question is
Mhm.
like, how are you going to give me this value back?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we can send an adjuster out there once you get the estimate to see what that kind of value, what that would look like." But if I didn't speak up and say that,
Right,
nobody
right,
was gonna give me any money or any, like, thing back for something I never did. And it was
totally.
like, in that one conversation, there's 2 things I spoke up for to get what I wanted, and I was, like, not okay with just like you were like, "I am
Right.
not sleeping on this floor." And
No,
so I just want women to I want everyone to hear these examples to really see, like, all the ways it can look to start to speak up and ask for what we want, and hello, you can get it.
totally,
You can get it
totally.
that same night.
Oh, I have another quick one too. I met a friend at the Cheesecake Factory. This is recently, like, I don't know, less than a month ago. And they were having this special half price cheesecake that day. And so my daughter had said to me, "Oh, can you bring me a piece?" So I'm like, "Sure." So I go to order my cheesecake, and the guy tells me, "Oh, you have to be a member, whatever they, how everybody has their own different little memberships." And so he's saying, "Oh, you have to have this discount app on your phone to be a member to get 50% off." And I'm like, that is BS. Because I had tried to download it one other time to make a reservation, and it was frustrating. So he said, "Okay, well," because I told him that, and he said, "Well, come over here with me to the counter where the cheesecake are, and they'll put the app on your phone for you so you can get your cheesecake." So I'm like, "Okay, fine." I go there, and then the girl is having trouble with it herself, and then she tells me I can't get the cheesecake half price because I don't have the app. And I'm just like, "Oh, hell no. Where's your manager?"
Yeah,
So she sends the manager over, and, the manager comes over, and she's like, "What's the problem? Blah, blah, blah." So I tell her the problem, and she said, "Oh, you need the app." And I said, "No, I don't." And she said, "You need the app on your phone for us to do it." I said, "No, I don't. You're the manager. You can do whatever you want."
Oh,
And she was getting so frustrated with me, but I said it just like that. I just was like, "You're the manager." This is the other thing, because we tried a few times, it said I had to
yeah.
wait an hour before I could try to download the app again. And then the lady's telling me that. So I just said, "You're the manager, figure it out."
Yes.
So she said to the lady I was with, "Do you want cheesecake too?" And the lady said, "No." I said, "Well, I want 2 pieces because one is for my daughter and one is for me, and I want it free because my meal I had to send my meal back too, so it's a long thing."
Yeah.
But I said, "And I want it free because most places, when you mess up a meal, they offer you something." "Oh,
Right.
no, we can't do that, but I'll give you the half price cheesecake." So I just was like, "Forget it, fine." She comes back with 2 pieces of cheesecake, hands me the bag and said, "Here you are, no cost." So
Okay. We need to start speaking up, you guys. And you know what? You said something earlier too about yourself, and I am the same way. Also, why I was like, there was just like a soul connection I felt like between us. Learning about you and seeing you more is like, I am a
Mhm.
rebel too. I'm a like, I actually have like a master class I'm putting together on like how to break the fucking rules because
Yeah,
so many, again, especially us as women, are like, and everywhere it's like follow the rules. That's what we're taught and we're told is like there's a certain way to do things and these are the rules. And I am so like you in that I am like, bitch, no. Like this is what's happening and this is possible. And
totally.
like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's like our thought, right? Like we have that kind of like, wait, no. Like I really want everyone to hear that and like how can you
Mhm.
start to find that version for yourself of like because it would be different the way you said it, even the way you were speaking and your energy behind it
Mhm.
is like a very certainty, right? There's a confidence and certainty of
Yeah,
like I'm not leaving. Like absolutely this is happening. Like you already know it's going to happen
totally,
versus
totally.
somebody who's like um it says 50% off and so I should get the 50% off and like that's a different energy.
Totally, totally. Or the energy of, "Can I get it?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
"Can can you just give it to me even though the app wasn't work can you just give it to me?" It's
yeah,
like, "No, you're giving it to me."
yeah, yeah. So I want to like so it's like hear that you've got to open your mouth but also practice like embodying the energy of like
Totally.
unapologetic or certainty of like and maybe there's some things like listen, maybe there's some things I'm like okay, whatever, like in a
Oh, well,
situation. But when it's
totally.
something when you're like, "No." Like, find that energy to approach it in that way. Like, what's your non-negotiables of like,
Right.
no. Um,
And and a lot of times I just let things fly because it's just I don't have time to deal with it
yeah.
or it's just not that important. But sometimes it it's just wrong. Like like some of those things, they were just wrong. So why am I going to act like it's okay when it's not?
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
just is unacceptable,
Well, and
period.
that's like yeah, I think it's just that discernment though, because even in like I'm thinking of relationships now, sometimes like my partner had said something the other day, I didn't like the way it made me feel. It wasn't disrespectful, but it just was like, ugh. And then I spoke to somebody else and they were like, this is what was behind that and like why and I was like oh
Mm,
like I'm not as like so I didn't
mm,
take that and stand and fight for it and like open my mouth to be
right,
like you said this. It was like I used discernment of like that's not worth fighting for and like
right.
to do something against. So I just yeah, so it's discernment is good there, but I think for the most part we're saying like we all need to speak up some more and like hold the
Stand
ground.
yeah, stand in your power.
Yeah.
Stand in your power. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention was stand in your power. When the managing partner at the law firm, it's like this 80-some-year-old white dude, like I'm large and in charge. Like the old me used to be intimidated by that.
Mm,
But the new me was like, okay, you don't want to pay me any more money. And I said to him, are you unhappy with my work? He said, no, we're very happy with the work you're doing. We're just not willing to pay you any more money. And I said to him, well, then I won't continue to work somewhere where I'll never get another raise. The old me would have never said that because I would have been too afraid of losing my job. But
yeah,
when we think that when we don't think we're going to lose something, it's
yeah,
easier to do it. It's easier
yeah.
to stand in your power when you're not worried about what you're going to lose.
Ooh, okay. I'm glad you shared that because I made a little note down here on something else you said there, and this is coming up here again, is like the desire. Like when you're not focused on what you're losing and like so scared then, but you focus on what you desire. And
Totally.
when you put your energy and focus there, so I even want to ask, like, what what do you like, what helped you? Is there anything that helped you or you would share with somebody to say, like, how do we help to focus, get out our heads out, think of like an ostrich, like, get your
Oh,
head out of the like muck and the like how what you're gonna lose, and instead look up to the sky or look up to the stars and be like, oh my God, this is all I could gain. How can someone help make that shift?
again, it's not like you're just going to jump off the cliff, but it's starting with instead of putting everybody else and their needs first, putting yourself first.
Mm,
And I call it being self-full instead of selfish, like
ooh,
being full of
yeah.
yourself, filling up your tank and tapping into what you desire. Most women, we don't do that.
Mhm.
And then I was her. Like I used to complain all the time. I'm working, well, especially when my daughter was young. I'm working all day and then I come home and my second job starts because then I have to cook and watch the child, my daughter and blah 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 while my ex-husband, he was very helpful, but what he said to me one time which was eye-opening is I thought you were handling it. You didn't ask for help. And
Mhm.
most people think, why should I have to ask? He's the father. He's in this situation too. But if we make things look easy, people just think, oh, she's got it. And
Yeah.
that's not just with the husband, that's on your job, that's with your family, friends, whatever. So I think it's a slow self care. I mean, self care has gotten overused, but putting yourself first. If
Mm,
you would allow yourself to put yourself first, your life would change. Two things: put
mm.
yourself first and fall deeply in love with yourself. Because
Ooh.
when you fall deeply in love with yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think because you are not worried about what they think or how they're going to feel. Because I even tell people now, I'm not responsible for your feelings.
Mhm.
You're responsible for your feelings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't like somebody could say I was telling a lady one day, people could say all kind of bad things about me on the internet or even to my face. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care because they don't know me and I don't care what they think.
Mm,
Because what difference does it make? Like, it doesn't even matter to me what they think about. I've seen people make comments about my hair. Even I was on a dating app and somebody messaged me about my hair, like an insult about my hair. So what?
mm. Okay, so I love this because, like, yes, we need more of that energy out here in the world. You said so, fall in love, take care of yourself and fall in love with yourself. What are
Yeah.
some like tangible things somebody's like, I know we need to start small, but then it's like, what are some things you started to do to really start to embody and love yourself? Like, what are some of those ideas someone could start to do so they could feel that way?
A lot of it started with me saying no,
Mm.
like saying no to a lot of requests that people have and
Mhm,
being willing to piss them off. And
mhm,
it's funny, I've heard other people talk about this as a grandparent. Our adult kids think we're responsible for helping them. A lot, it's just kind of like baked into society that a grandparent is supposed to
mm.
babysit or supposed to, but it could be your sister thinks you're supposed to help with her kids or your husband thinks whatever. But what if you said no?
Imagine that.
That's
Yeah,
how, literally, that's how you start falling in love with yourself. Because when
mm,
you say no, you're putting yourself first.
yeah, mm,
So
good.
start saying no and start saying yes to the things that you desire.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times we say no to the things we don't want. Um, wait, yes to the things we don't want and no to the things we do want, which is
yeah,
backwards. But but it's
yeah,
how we're trained. We're trained that
yeah,
way. So I had to learn all of this stuff. I mean, I really broke it apart in coaching, like so much getting coached. But even sitting on the like I have a little porch, sitting on the porch and just sitting there, feeling the breeze and watching the cars go by. Like I have a tiny little cul-de-sac I live on, but just sitting. Like when
mm,
I was in corporate, I never sat in front of my house. I didn't even sit in the backyard either. I just went to work every day and came home, cooked, cleaned, went to bed, and started all over. Now I sit down, get quiet, or I'll
yeah,
say, what do I really want to eat? Like these are easy things, but it's
yeah,
like, what do I really want to eat?
mm,
Oh, I'm just gonna have that.
yeah.
Like
Ooh,
like like today, I went for my doctor's appointment and someone had told me about a bakery, and I was just like, I'm going to go get a piece of cake
mhm,
just because I want it. Because
yeah,
most of my life, I spent my life trying to be skinny and not treating myself.
mm, yeah. Ooh,
And so that's loving right there. That's loving, allowing yourself to have the piece of cake.
mhm. I
I
love
was vegan. I was vegan for like 5 years, and the reason I'm not vegan anymore is because I was tired of telling myself no to every damn thing that I wanted to eat. Every time I went to a restaurant, every time I went to a party, every time like it just was
mm,
crazy. You say no, and I know some people do it for the animals, don't come for me. I wasn't doing it for the animals, I was doing it for my health. But I got tired of saying no.
yeah,
So I just started adding some things back in, saying yes to some things, and then
mm,
it felt better. It felt better. So these are decisions that we all make every single day,
mhm, mhm, yeah,
right?
mm. I love that, and I'm, again, like, same page of, like, I say yes to myself and what I want all the time. Like, even as a mama, I have 2 young boys who are 9 and 6, and, like, literally
Mhm.
yesterday, they start to get a little squirrely and they wanna play, and they're, like, fine playing their little games, and I'm like, "I wanna go for a walk." So I'm like, I will go right out. I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna be right down here. I'll be back in, like,
Mhm.
15, 20 minutes. If you guys need me, I'm
Mhm.
right down here." And I will leave and go for my walk. And, like, I
Mhm.
think most moms would be, like, cleaning and this and trying to play with their kids because they need to
Right,
entertain them all the time, or, like, doing something for the house or whatever, or maybe even working
right.
more. And I was like, "I'm going for a walk. I desire a walk." Like, that is
Good
what I'm doing.
good for you.
And I
That's the other thing. I did have to let go of having a spotless house.
Yeah,
Especially, with my grandson will be 6 next month. With a 6-year-old in my house,
yeah,
I had to let go of it. So to me, even that is
yeah,
caring for me and my mental health because I used to fuss all the time. "Pick up, don't do this, don't leave this here." look at this mess. And then you end up being miserable. So
Yeah.
to me, how can I have peace? How
Yeah.
can I have peace? Your house does not have to be spotless all the time. You
No.
don't have to cook every single meal. How can you sit down, let somebody else do it? My grandson literally is learning how to cook, not because anybody forced him. He wants to make his own eggs. He can't use the stove by himself, but even he's discovered chicken wings. So now I started showing him, here's the seasoning, put them in the air fryer.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. This even I want to share one more too of that. On that note, it's like with the kids thing, because this is I have a lot of mamas and parents in my world
Mhm,
too. And you know this, and it's like so many as a mom, you can get lost in being a mom and mom
mm,
mode. And I feel like I've done a very good job of that too, of like not allowing like I do everything kind of a
uh,
situation where it's like, no, we're going to clean up. Y'all are going to do the
right,
dishes with me and we're going to do this together or like picking up, we pick up together. I don't just pick up after you. Like,
right,
and so many, and listen, I'm not perfect. So nobody like, but those kinds of things or like where they can take care of things themselves too and like teaching them that skill versus me doing all the things for them.
totally. It's good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
good for both.
yes, it's good because it's like I think too there's like what I have found is like there's like a letting go. That's kind of been this
Mm,
last year in a lot of ways for me is like you've got to be able to let go of control, to let go
totally,
of doing all the things, to
totally,
letting like that is a big piece I feel like of we want to get the results or we want to control these things or we want to have the clean house or we want our kids to behave so good and it's so much control and I
mhm,
feel like the theme right now for me and even my clients it just keeps coming up and up and up and up it's just like letting go. We do not have to
totally,
control everything.
totally, and letting go of how it gets done too, because I know growing my mom was like a strict disciplinarian, and then I started becoming that way, not intentionally, but that it had to be done a specific way. And that will make you so frustrated and have you overworking all the time when other people could be helping you. L- Do let them do it their way. Let as long as it gets done, which I know that's hard for a lot of people to
Yeah.
not have like you said the control, but it will give you such peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, okay, I know we're, like, coming close to time here. Do you have, like, a little bit more time we can go over?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Um, I really wanna make sure we get this in before we, like, maybe take a step onto, like, your journey. There's I just was, like, thinking, like, if you were, like, you know, we're face to face now, like, if you guys are watching the video of this, but, like, there's, like, a woman in front of you. She's 40. She's not her bold, badass self, right? Like, she's in that still stage. 40 or 50, like, what would you want to what's the advice? What would you wanna share and tell her that is to, like, wake her up, to open her up? Like, what would you share?
I would share that life is short and tomorrow is not promised. And do you want to leave this earth with unfulfilled dreams? Like, do you want to really let go of it? Or do you want to jump all into the life that you really desire? Because we all have our desires, but we keep pushing them down. And the biggest thing that people say is, well, it's not really realistic. I want you to get unrealistic. I want you to get delusional. I want you to step into, like, connect with the little girl who had big dreams.
Mm,
Connect with her. Let her drive what you do instead of the more mature, realistic person you've grown into as an adult. Dream like a kid. Like,
mm.
seriously, sit with your child self. and
Mm,
dream like a kid. I literally, I'm not exaggerating. Me and my grandson wrestle on the floor. I'm in pretty decent shape. I wrestle him. I get him in a headlock, wrap my legs, like play like you're a child.
mm,
I will skip sometimes when I go for my walks. I will skip sometimes. Like step into that playful side and
yeah.
stop trying to be so serious and adult and responsible. I
Ooh,
swear that word responsible, I wish it was like removed from the vocabulary
mm,
because responsible has people saying no to their desires every day.
mm. Yeah,
I can't do that. I have to be responsible. I can't go there. I have to be responsible. I can't spend that money. I have to be responsible.
right. Mm. Oh,
That means play small.
yeah. Yeah. Ooh, oh, I love that advice. That is so powerful, so potent, so playful, so fun. So,
Yes. It
oh,
doesn't have to be hard. Like if see those flowers behind me?
yeah.
I bought those for me. They're these roses that like they're only supposed to live for a year, but I've had them like 3 years and they look fabulous. Treat yourself. Like every time I look at them, I feel happy.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
treat yourself, be good to yourself. I went through a phase where I would just buy like a box of expensive chocolate that I had to order online because they don't sell it in the store. You
Mm,
know, like do these things for yourself that feel good. A lot of times women too will wait for someone to buy them something
yeah.
and or get upset if their husband or their partner, doesn't give them flowers, doesn't buy gifts or whatever. It's like buy it for your own damn self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I waiting for somebody to buy something that I want? They're not responsible for my happiness.
Yeah.
If I find pleasure in these flowers, and those things were expensive as hell, like
Mhm.
250 or something, I don't know. But if I want it, I'm going to get it. And it's going to bring me joy because I didn't wait around trying to drop hints and wait for someone else to do it for me. Because that's what we do too. It's kind of like passive aggressive. We drop
Yeah.
hints and leave things, clues. It's like, no, get it your own self. Do it for your own self.
Yeah. Mm, I love that. I love that. I'm a fan too. Um, okay. Ooh, I think we froze here for a second. Let me see if this comes back on.
We're good on my end.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I must have froze there. Um, oh, that is so good. So good. I'm such a fan too. Um, okay. Let's, I know we had a little bit more time left here. So take us go back to like, okay, so you're starting over now as leaving corporate, starting your career in coaching. I'm curious, what do you feel like helped you step into that? Like, okay, you were bold enough, brave enough to do that. Your values said, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna start. I'm like, why coaching actually was a question. Why
Mm.
did you find that? And then you sounds like you got certified, you started like coaching clients at night. Like walk us through a little bit of like the why coaching and how you literally made that happen.
Why coaching? I had known about coaching for a while. I mean, I hear so many people say this that they found out about coaching on Oprah like years ago. I think that's probably where I learned too. But I always, well, not always, but I would say when I left my ex-husband, so many people thought I was so brave and that it was courageous, and I really felt like um I could help other women, but I didn't know how, and I was, really on survival mode at that point, but I really wanted to help other women, and I wanted to show other women what was possible because I was around so many people that kept saying, "You're so brave, you're so courageous." I didn't really think I was that brave or courageous. I just thought, "I'm saving my life." It
Mm,
wasn't life or death, but it was my life. I was taking charge. So,
yeah.
I just had in my mind, and literally, I the phrase came to me, "How can I help women free their souls?"
Mm,
And I wrote that down at least 20 years ago. Ended
wow.
up naming my LLC is called Free Her Soul,
Mm,
and it's just been my desire to show other women that we don't have to suffer.
yeah.
And so that I felt like, because I thought about becoming a therapist and going back to school to become a therapist and had looked down that line, but I did not want to do things in a traditional corporate kind of way. I did not. Because even now I tell my clients, why do you want to allow corporations to rule you? I mean, with all this, like, there's so many rules when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
I thought, I really thought, who has the results that I desire? And I
Mm,
found the life coach school and with Brooke Castillo, and that
mhm.
lady blows my mind. Do you know who she is?
Yes, I
Do
do,
you
and
know
I
do you
would,
know who?
like, second that. Yeah, she's
So she
incredible and amazing.
so I was sitting at my corporate job listening to her podcast, like, for
Mhm.
years, and wanted to get certified, but it costs $18,000. And I was just like, "Mm, I can curse." I always thought my ass is too old to spend $18,000 on a certification, right? But I liked the results that she had. I liked what she was saying. She was helping me change my life through the podcast. And I joined, she had a membership at the time. So I joined her membership, and you could get coached in the membership. And I was on a coaching call getting coached, and the woman that was coaching me, she was older than me. So she was like 10 years, I was like mid 60s, she was like mid 70s, retired teacher. And so I was blown away by that. But
Mhm.
also she said something to me, and that is that, what if your coaching business could be your retirement plan? Because I was saying to her, I don't have a lot saved in my retirement plan. I don't
Mhm.
know, how could I become a coach? Like the usual things people say, benefits, retirement, those typical things. And she just said, what if your business could become your retirement plan? It just like blew my mind. And from that point on, I just kept asking myself that question. What if your business could be your retirement plan? What if, what if, what if? And then I just decided I'm going to take some money out of my 401k, and I paid for half of the certification and then got on a payment plan with the rest. I still didn't know I was going to quit my job
Mhm.
at that time, but I just knew that I was called to get certified because I had started changing my mindset so much because of what I was listening to on the podcast,
Yeah.
that I just wanted more of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then once I got certified, and you're required to put in a certain amount of hours of coaching to get certified, and and you don't know this, but at the same time, right before the certification, I had taken this course called Made to Do This. And this woman, her name's Kathy Heller, she was helping you figure out what you're meant to do in the world.
Mm,
And I decided coaching was it. So I was doing that. And then I got certified, and then I quit my job. And she like just did like a catch up call with a bunch of us. And I had just made, this was the year I quit. It was like 6 months after I quit my job, maybe. I had made 50K in ten days. This was in 2022. And she had asked me, could she interview me about how my life has changed since I was in her program. So
mm.
she interviewed me. It was just a group call because she was promoting like the next cohort, and
Yeah.
she was bringing back alumni. And she asked me, and I said, "Oh, I meant to tell you, I made 50K in 10 days." So that was on January 31st. So she said on the call, Isn't tomorrow February 1st? And I was like, "Yeah." She said, Oh, yeah, it's Black History Month. Okay. I mean, I wasn't really thinking anything about it. The next day, she has a pretty big name podcast. The next day, I was on her podcast. She had edited out everybody else, and I was on her podcast for Black History Month. And from there, I just started getting a lot of business, a lot of attention. And so that was kind of like the beginning of my coaching career, starting out with, this bigger name person promoting me.
Mm,
So since then, she doesn't promote me anymore. So business was like this, and then it dropped, and now it's like typical for business, but I'm actually working on a new thought that business doesn't have to be up and down. So
yeah.
that it can be consistent. So that's like my new thought I'm thinking about. But I just knew I could help other women. And
Mm,
I knew if I could be freed, like I literally feel like my soul is free.
mm,
Like, my life is not perfect on paper. I bought a house after my divorce, but it's a much smaller house. I don't drive an expensive car anymore, but I'm so much happier. And
mm,
the only way I can describe it is my soul is free. So my desire has always been to help other women free their souls. And
okay.
I really believe that I'm doing my life's work. And if I died today, I could say,
Yeah.
I did what I came here for. Like, it's been a true roller coaster, but
Mm,
like, sometimes I coach clients and I literally will be like teary eyed because people they're not talking about this stuff.
yeah.
They're not they're not helping women be free and just happy, and I'm not saying happy because you bought a bunch of material things, but happy because it's more joy. It's more like a soul level joy that I feel.
Yeah.
Um, and I want other women to feel that too.
Mm. Okay, I love that because now we just got like your mission and your vision out there, like for women to know, like, this is what you do and how you help them free their soul. And I feel I get that. Like, I feel that too, Gail, because I can't even tell you like the amount of times, especially in the last year or so, or even honestly, like when I separated from the boy's dad, this was over 5 years
Mhm,
ago.
mhm,
That was my first freeing, like, of, like,
mhm.
me stepping into my, like, who I really am and being that free now.
Yeah,
And then I feel like each year I've become a new version, a new woman. And now
mhm,
this year, I feel like I did it in 6 months. Like, I transcended that, not even a full year. And
yes,
there's such right, I don't have all the things on paper, like that, like, all of those, but, like, I feel so alive and joyful for my life. I feel that freedom of, like, I get to make choices always of what
totally,
I want, and
totally.
I'm healthy and my boys are like, I have enough, like, all of those things, and
Yeah,
there's so much power in that
a
versus
lot,
feeling like I have to stay because of this, or I can't leave because of this, or I'm stuck because of this or that, like, that to me is, like, soul freeing is like, and when you're aligned and you do feel like the work you do in this world, like, it is hard for me to not do the work because I
yeah,
love it so much. Like,
yeah,
even
totally,
on there's those good and bad days, but like,
totally.
and so that is like when I feel like I know what you're talking about, and I feel like most women, or just in general, like we have that sense of what that is. Like, it's that
Totally.
freedom sense, and if you don't, now you know it's possible.
It's
Um,
always it's always possible. I mean, think about it. I was born in 1956. 1956. If I can do it, your 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old self can do it. I'm sorry, 50-year I don't accept, like, excuses from people. I do
yeah,
not, and I call it arguing for your limitations. Like, there are so
Mhm.
many times as women we argue for our limitations. "Well, Gail, you're different." "No, I'm not." If you
Mhm.
think about it, and this is why, I had mentioned to you earlier on my Substack, I called it the Old Black Lady Chronicles. And the reason I called it that is because people will use all of those things as excuses.
Right.
I'm too old, I'm black, or I'm this. It doesn't really matter your nationality. I'm a woman. You know how we're discriminated against? You know how many times I hear people say, well, as a woman that's over 50, I get discriminated against. I never think that. I never think, and I'm not saying it's not true. That's not what I'm
Right.
saying. But I never think, oh, I'm black. I'm being discriminated against. I
Right.
don't think that way. So
Yeah.
to me, my writings are about like rising above all of those things and defining who you are for yourself.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
they exist in society. I'm not blind. I know they exist. But honest to God, I just don't really experience it because it's not part of my frame
Mhm.
of mind. It's not
Yeah.
part of my identity. And
Yep.
and and this is the other thing. Even if I do experience it on some level, microaggressions or
Yeah.
something, I don't let it mean it's going to stop me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, if
no,
anything, to me, stuff like that is like, "Watch me. Watch me."
totally.
Like,
And
that's how I use that. Yeah.
this is the other thing I think about too. I think it's a benefit that I was raised when I was, that I grew up because I became a person that I see a lot of people today. We do have
Yeah.
soft lives now. But
Mm.
I think about my mother, she's deceased, but she was born in 1923, long before civil rights, long before women's rights, civil rights, any of that.
Yeah.
But I have pictures of my mother. My mother was so stylish and so smart and so beautiful. And I have pictures of her in her suits and dresses and heels. She partied, her and her friends partied, and they played cards, or like that was her joy, like inviting people over to play cards. I think no matter what's happening in the world, we can still have joy. And it just makes me feel emotional because she was so strong. And I know subconsciously I got a lot of this from my mom,
Mhm.
but I could have used a lot of excuses. I mean, I could have. But I
Yeah.
think about if she could do, I always, because her name was Mary, I always say if Mary could do it, I sure can do it.
Mm. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing and, like, opening that up about your mom, and that, like, made me a little emotional, like, because it's firsthand, like, this is literally your mother, not some woman in the 20s or 50s, like, growing up. It's you and your mom, and goddamn,
Yeah.
like, that is just so powerful to be like, yeah, I do feel like, and my hand is raised in certain ways, like, the softness, and it's like, if she God, if Mary did that in the growing up in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, before women had, like, any rights as a Black woman, like,
Totally.
are you kidding me? You're damn
Totally.
right we can do, like, whatever we
Yeah.
want.
And this is the kind of fun fact. My mother, she was a badass, and I think part of her is being channeled through me now. It took a long time, but to me, this is a fun kind of. It wasn't fun at the time, but thinking back, she had the nerve to leave my father for another man in the '60s, late '60s, early '70s.
Mhm.
She had the nerve created and reinvented her life.
Wow. Yeah.
That is badass. And he was the love of her life who her parents told he asked for her hand in marriage and her parents said no. So he went off and broke up with her. She didn't ever know. And then they ended up together anyway till she died in her late 80s.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
So
gosh.
how badass is that? You leave for the love of your life and
Yeah.
then end up with him for I don't even know. at least 40 years, I think. Something, yeah, around 35, 40 years they were together, her and the guy.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I know it's in my DNA, I guess. I don't know. It's like it definitely feels like I'm channeling her more and more as I get older.
I love that. I love that. Ooh. Oh my gosh. I feel like this is a sweet spot even to like wrap up and like
Yeah.
that's such a like special message and just what's coming through even is like with you saying channeling is like for all of us like channeling whether you want to like channel your inner Mary or your inner
Yeah.
Gail
The inner
or
whoever.
whoever is like that person. I have like muses that I channel their energy like
Yes,
I look up to tap into that and it's like
totally.
yeah, ooh, so channeling, we all wanna, like, start to channel more of our badass energy. Gail,
Totally.
before we leave, I know we could probably go on for, like, another hour
I
here, but,
know.
like
I really think we should have part 2 because
okay,
we didn't even talk about, like, current stuff
yes.
and what's happened since, I left my job, but go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Let's do a part 2. We're just gonna do that then. For right now then, at today, on the end of this one, what do you wanna share that I haven't asked already that we haven't shared? What's coming up for you? What's something that, like, if there's anything you wanna leave the audience with right now that you wanna
Mhm.
make sure for sure gets spoken into existence for them?
Well, we talked earlier about me transitioning in my branding and stepping more into my newer current identity. Um, and so I just shared with Samantha that I am going to transition my branding to the ageless, hot, and ambitious brand and start writing about that. I'm starting to write because now my next transition is from coach to writer. So I'm
Mm.
becoming more of a writer who coaches. And so that's the next transition in my life. Look, we get to change as many times as we want, right?
Yes.
It's and I had written a chapter in an anthology book last year, and
Mhm.
it became a bestseller, and today it just came to my mind, like, "You wrote in a best-selling book." So, we get to choose our identity whenever we want.
Yes.
So, I would say that, I that's what I want to leave people with. You get to choose every day who you desire to be.
Mm.
And I love, and we could talk about this another time, but deciding your identity, deciding who you desire to be, and becoming her. Just
Yes.
become her because you want to.
Mm.
Right? And that's a whole nother conversation, but give yourself permission to reinvent. I'll put it that way. Give
Yes.
yourself permission to become her, to tell yourself you're hot, you're sexy, you're free. Whatever it is, even if you don't believe it, tell yourself that anyway, because I'm evidence that when you tell yourself something, you find a way to make it true.
Mhm. Oh, oh my gosh. So good, Gail. I love that finishing final notes there. And this, like so I'm like, we so have to do a part 2 then because we need to, like, go down that
Yeah,
road and hear your identity
totally.
shifts and changes. And I love this too because I'm resonating with that right now. Like, I
Mhm.
literally dropped, like, a 20-minute voice note to one of my coach friends of, like, I am also feeling a new identity and transition from coach to artist. And
I love
as
it.
a speaker, like and that's my artistry. Um
Mm,
And just there's so much around that where I'm not gonna like spill too much tea here, but like and it's like that acceptance though of like I've been a coach for this long and I was mostly like a health and kind of weight loss coach. And then I went
mm,
into more life, body and life coaching. And now this year it's like it finally the piece fell of identity coaching. And
mm.
It's
That's my thing. That is
yeah,
I'm on fire for identity.
that is why we need a part two because we need to go down this identity road.
Yes, that
But it's like the
yeah,
evolution because
right.
we've grown. And so, of course, and it makes me think of artists too, like Prince, iconic artist, David Bowie, like
Totally.
Elton John, like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, all of like when you think of artists, they didn't just write the same album and do that live
No.
their same life over and over. They
Oh,
reinvented themselves.
I love that. Like when you said album, it just popped in my mind like the albums of their life. Like what if we lived our life in albums? What? Like,
Yes.
because they write new songs that we have to have another conversation because it
Yeah.
it makes me think of identity work. Like,
Yeah.
what if every identity was a new album and you wrote the song, you wrote the identity, you
Yes.
sang it, you acted it out, you
Yes.
presented it to the world. As soon as
Yes.
you said album, oh, I love that.
That's well, because literally, so okay, I'm gonna have quick side note. My youngest, who's 6, he became a Taylor Swift fan like 2 years ago when
Oh.
he first started the Eras tour, and like I liked it. I just wasn't like a huge I listened to her music, or I didn't know that much. But
Mm,
because my son was interested, I became interested. And then of course the Eras tour, which was like each of her albums are her life. Like you can literally see, gives me goosebumps even of like who she was when she started as a young teenager and all through her life. That's
mm,
the Eras tour, and her albums are her life. And now
mm.
she just released this new album, which is what actually I think had me dropping into the artistry and like being like, holy shit, the album thing like
Oh,
hit me too. And yeah, so it's like that is the eras. Like we have these different albums of our life, these different eras. And I think it's such a great
mm.
example to be like, why be the same person for 30, 40 years, even 5
I
years? Like,
know. I
yeah,
don't it's societal training. You made me think of Adele. She does her albums similar to that too. Um,
okay.
Adele. So it, I just I had not thought about the albums of our lives. Like I think that's something I'm going to start writing about and thinking in terms of and doing it quicker. Like
Yes. Yes.
shifting quicker. Like I remember my daughter used to always say, "Well, it takes a long time to change," and I used to say to her, "Not really. It doesn't have to.
Yeah.
You can make
Well,
a decision and change immediately."
and look at even for that, I was like on a year to year basis since I separated, which and so it was like
Mm,
1 year at a time I was shifting and changing, like stepping
mm.
into this new. And now this year, it only took 6 months. And so it's like, it's not time.
No, not
Um,
at all.
and I will just one last thing of like that's just coming. I have to share this out is like I think what and you spoke to this too. What has helped me do that, I can like really attest to is like more space. I gave
Mm,
myself more space to journal, more
yeah,
space to check in. I was doing quick actions with that too. So I could
yes,
know what's working or what's not working and who the fuck I am on this
right.
process. But I give myself so much space to go in and to check in with myself
Mhm.
versus meow, like get up, go to work, rinse, repeat, take care of the kids, go to bed, and like 6 months goes by and you're like,
Oh, yeah,
what?
what happened?
And yeah, so space is like such a key
Mm,
of like how I feel like
mhm.
I can create that.
And I call it sitting with it.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
same thing, but just sitting with it. Like,
yeah,
and this is the other thing I want people to know. Just ask yourself higher level questions and sit with it. Don't feel like you have to answer it.
yeah,
So, if you really want to change your life, literally, I would say, and I haven't even told you some crazy manifestation stories and things that have happened quick, but sometimes I'll just sit in the car and say, God. Can you just show me how to do this? I don't know. I feel stuck. And then I go about my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then the answer comes. It
Mm.
might come in the shower. I get the answer a lot in the shower. It might come
Mm-hmm.
on a walk. But when you ask higher level questions, you know the desires of my heart. How can I start to shift? How can I start to
Mm.
move?
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
that's great.
because
Yeah.
sometimes most of the time people say, well, I don't know how. Yeah, of course you don't know how. Don't even expect yourself to know how, but
Mhm.
start asking for the answer. Ask for it to be revealed. It comes in different ways when you get quiet and when you sit with yourself, when you
Yeah.
get still. So just start asking questions without expectation.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oof. So good. Okay. So tell everybody now we know you're a writer and you're on Substack and everybody's going to want to find you and follow you.
I
Where
hope
can they connect with you? Give us all the
so.
places.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's called the Old Black Lady Chronicles. So if you go to Substack
Um,
and look that up, my Instagram is my name, Gail. It's under Gail Keys Allen. So Allen is my married name, and I've kind of dropped it, but it's still around. You can't have a name for most of your adult life and it disappears. So if you look me up, Gail Keys Allen, the Old Black Lady Chronicles, it comes up in Google. I'm all around.
Amazing. And I will link everything too in the show notes for sure. Gail, thank you so much. This was such a
You are
fun,
welcome.
powerful conversation.
It has been, yes.
Oh, and I will look forward. You guys stay tuned. Part two is going to come.